special kind of oppressiveness we feel now. Because this is a lesson drawn from history, that blood will flow.
Animation and comic style for me was the perfect tool. And maybe the main reason is that when I read the book, I first time imagined that in animation with that look. So for me, it was an obligation to do it like that, because I felt it like that. Animation appeals to a very romantic period of our lives, that is when you are a kid and you read comics. And for me, that was something very emotional. At the same time, working with motion capture means that we are going to discover and to enjoy the animated characters, but moving like human beings. So it was a human movement, human behavior, but with a comic look. For me, that's something very special, and mixed with the real image of the survivor. So everything was created to make the legend of Kapuscinski bigger, and also to connect emotionally wise with the audience. Yes. From the very beginning, I imagined that look, and it was a big luck for me when I met Damian Nenov, the co-director of the film from Platyshimage, that he was doing a short film before called Paths of Hate, and there on that short film he had that look I was looking for and I was imagining, and for me it was like a sign. I said, okay, we need to work together because he has the look I'm looking for. He's a very skilled and talented animation director, so I said, hey, we need to collaborate to make this dream possible. The main reason, or the original reason, was in the book. Kapuscinski wrote the book in 1976, but in 2002 he wrote an epilogue when the war was over, and he said, I come back with my thoughts to the period I live, and I remember all the people I met there. What has become of them? Are they still alive? So for me it was like a mission or a must to give the answer to Kapuscinski, because the film is going to be an adaptation of your book or of your adventures in animation, but we will incorporate the live action of the survivors. Why? Because they provide emotion and they provide credibility to tell the audience that all that appears, or nearly all that appears in the film, is true. They are real facts. Yeah. Quite difficult. It was very difficult. Made the first budget. Of course, we didn't do it well, and at the end, everything was much more expensive that we thought. So we had a lot of problems to overcome these issues, because there was no reference film to look at, to try to be inspired or try to learn from. I think it was a new concept. And also in terms of creativity, it was not easy to make the film, because we wanted to make only one film, not two films in one. So it was difficult to make animation and documentary evolve naturally. 4.5 of them of production, and 4.5 of them of pre-production, and the burning of the idea till the premiere in Cannes are 10 years. So of course it was too long. We always thought that next year we're going to finish, and when next year arrives, it's not going to be next year and next year. But motivation and conviction with the story was always there. And I never look at my hero, at Kapuscinski, in bad terms, you know. I was thinking, imagining him in the sky or whatever, laughing at the situation, saying, wow, look, these guys, they are driving crazy for making my story like a film. So we imagined him like laughing about us. I'm sure that yes, because his widow and one of his best friends, they told me that of course they love the film, and they are very sure that Kapuscinski would love this film. They told me. I'm very proud of that, of having the film. Also the life, also the real protagonist of the film, they watched the movie before Cannes. I was super scared on that screening, because imagine that if they said, oh, this is a stupid film. But no, they were in love with the film. was interested in Kapuscinski in Angola, not especially in Angola, but also in Angola. I think the film happens in a period that is amazing, that is in the Cold War, where USA is just losing the war in Vietnam, and Soviet Union and USA, they are fighting for controlling the war, and it's Cold War, and they are fighting in Angola. Like a super film for me, action-wise, right? Also was very thrilling, spy mood, a hero trying to survive and trying to tell the truth, and a hero that confronts maybe the biggest dilemma in his career, because he was a very known journalist and war reporter, maybe one of the best ever. And in Angola he needs to face a situation that he needs to choose between maintaining objective, like a good reporter, or breaking all the basis or the ontological basis of journalism and taking part into the conflict. So in the film you will see what happened, but it's a big dilemma that he needs to face, and I was very attracted by that conflict. Yeah, I think he was a super skilled war reporter, humble person, but also with a big ego, as you can see on the film, but because he wanted to take part of history, but not only that, he maybe there in Angola wanted even to change the history.
How do you face that psychologically?
I'm not talking about those problems, never answer these questions. Next one, please.
I was impressed that is all of them, they remember very well Kapuscinski, and this is something that happened 40 years ago, and he was a lonely Polish war reporter. He was speaking a not very fluent Portuguese or Spanish, but all of them they remember very much Kapuscinski, and they can repeat dialogues and conversations they had with him. So that means that that guy was very charismatic, because it's not easy that in terms of war, you are in war and you remember one war reporter. I think there are only two. One is Apocalypse Now from Coppola with Kurtz, General Kurtz, that is Farrusco.
Ce qui est nécessaire à ceux qui ignorent ce que l'horreur représente.
And also, like an influence, I could say all the cinematography of Sam Peckinpah.